Hey guys, and welcome once again to another video. And ito ang very requested part 2 reaction to the reaction of Architect Oliver Austria. Seriously guys, wala pa akong tulog kasi 4 AM ginising na kami ni Baby Scott.
1 AM rin, 2 AM rin, 3 AM rin.
Okay, so let's get the video started. Oliver Austria part 2.
Really? People are still requesting for part 2 until now?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Now. Ba't wala akong ganyang edit, love?
Katon sa... Ikitulo na ko.
Tuyok.
Ang arkitekto at ang inhinyero ay mortal na magkalaban. Ngayong araw ay babasagin natin ang Parang mali, babasagin. Sisirain natin ang... Parang mali pa rin. Papatunayan natin na hindi totoo ang mga sabi-sabi. At kung masusi niyong sinusubaybayan ang channel na ito, alam nyo na sa Skypod reaction video natin ay nagustuhan ko ang bahay ng enhinyerong tinatawag na Slater Young.
Wait, sinabi niya na ang engineer at ang architect palaging magkaaway. And I feel like it is true in some ways because may conflict talaga. The architect gustong ipapaganda yung bahay and then the engineer has to design how to be able to build it. So, dun yung friction, lalo na pag ambitious yung architect and yung execution is left up to the engineer, dun sila medyo nag-aaway. And siyempre, yung architect din nagka-quality control sa mga trabaho ni engineer, so ganyan, may conflict. Pero mukhang magka-vibes naman kami ni architect so far, so we'll see. Welcome to the Skypod.
Wow. Alright, madudes, umpisa pa lang binigyan na tayo ng patikim kung gaano kaganda yung bahay nila. And first impressions ko is I am very impressed.
This is Slater's dream house.
Okay, so kung titignan natin itong bagay sa tabi ng sofa nila, ang tawag dyan is floor-mounted convenience outlet. So para yung saksakan, pero imbis na sa pader siya nakamount sa sahig, mahirapan ka nga naman mag-locate ng mga saksakan. Yung disadvantage lang nito is pag meron kang pet tapos naihan niya to, pwedeng mag-short circuit. Pero sa tingin ko itong floor-mounted convenience outlet na ginamit nila is yung weatherproof. Ibig sabihin pag hindi ginagamit, pwede siyang saran tas waterproof na kahit mabuhusan ng water, hindi mag-short circuit to.
Ganito talaga mga architect. Sa lahat ng pinapakita, yung mga details yung tinitingnan. Pag pinakita yung sofa, yung nakikita is yung outlet. Pero tama, may takip nga yung outlet namin. Well, so far hindi naman naiihian ni Sky Bear. So, okay tayo dun. But, wait. Okay, kick off muna tayo guys. So, these were sent over by our friends from Omni. And if you follow my Instagram, we talked about this at GFCI Outlet. So, if not, follow nyo na ako ngayon. Kasi, nagpo-post ako paminsan ng mga random know-hows sa bahay. Mga DIY, mga paano maglilinis, paano mag-repair. Anyway, balik tayo sa GFCI. This is one of the reasons why you should hire mga proper professionals sa bahay. Kasi if mga pakyawan lang ang nag-i-install ng mga ganito, they wouldn't even think of installing GFCI outlets. GFCI outlets have sensors sa loob. And nilalagay ito sa mga wet areas, sa mga sinks, sa mga showers. Naglalagay tayo ng mga heaters near the showers. Ito is to prevent electrocution in the event na may malfunction yung device na ginagamit mo so that hindi ka na siya shock. But also, meron akong gustong papakita sa inyo na just like us, newborn parents, ibang klase naman to na outlet. Ito ay may safety shutter sa loob. If you look at it very closely, may shield siya, may plastic na shield.
Like a screen?
Oo. Wait. Alam mo ba ito?
No. Go, come on. I'm learning.
So, ito pala ang maganda sa Omni kasi may graphite finish na sila. So, Yes, I'm very happy that may ibang kulay na tayo.
Not just white.
Not just white. If I do this side to side, ito may safety shutter. Ito sa kabila, if klaro sa camera, wala siyang safe. Wow, may assistant na ako guys. Magic.
Focus. There. Okay, so this one.
This one has the safety shutter. This one doesn't. So, ang importance ng safety shutter ay kunwari si Scott ay 3-4 years old na, running around with whatever is in his hand. Diba mahilig ang mga bata na nagpo-poke sa mga outlets or whatever. So this is to help prevent that. Kasi if my safety shutter, hindi ko napopoke. If wala, I can poke it all the way through. Hindi natin alam kung anong mangyari. So you don't have to put the safety shutter everywhere. Ilalagay lang natin sa mga places na abot ng mga bata.
So what we wanted is it to be very open. You can't quite know where the indoor area is and the outdoor area is.
Ay, may ads.
Don't skip.
Hindi tayo mag-skip for
Yo, my name
architect.
is Lian from the future here. So I was scrolling down Sir Slater's Instagram profile and na-discover ko itong video kung saan pinakita niya yung sliding doors na ginamit nila dun sa Skypod. And first time ko makita ng sliding door na ganito na meron siyang integrated na screen.
This is a sliding door from Kenneth & Mock. And when you push it, there's actually a screen here.
So yun, nakita nyo yung kanilang glass sliding door na pag sinara nyo, yung screen is pumapasok siya dun sa door frame. And then pag binukas nyo, yung screen sumasama siya sa door. So pag nakasara, all glass lang makita mo, walang screen sa likod. Nabanggit ni Sir Slater na ang manufacturer ng sliding doors nila is Kenneth & Mock, which is a very high-end window fixture supplier. So yun yung brand ng kanilang sliding windows.
Okay, speaking of sliding windows, gusto ko gamitin ngayon kasi medyo mainit. So yan. Ito siya. Favorite ni Madam Chris. Uy.
Because
Chris
there's a
Young. Why do
screen.
people still call you Chris? Chris Young.
Okay, okay, boss.
Ayan, so I can breathe. Breathe.
Init bito.
Bread in, bread out.
So kudos sa designer na nag-design na lagyan ng jalousie ang overhead windows ng Skypod. Bagay na bagay siya and you know, it's a good use of jalousie. So hopefully eventually sumikat ulit ang jalousie kasi isa yan sa mga favorite window types ko. Although ang downside ng jalousie is mahirap siyang linisin and hindi ko alam paano nila lilinisin to kasi overhead pa.
Okay, so yeah, I call it jealousy. But I know the proper name for it is jealousy. Hindi ko lang alam kung bakit, but ever since bata pa kami, jealousy talaga tawag namin. Comment down below if you do that, or ako lang ba? Ang pinakamalaking advantage ng jealousy is unlike mga sliding doors, kasi pag sliding door, kunwari ito yung dalawang sliding door, 50% lang yung airflow niya, di ba? Pag jealousy kasi, more or less, 100% yung open niya. Gets ba lang?
Yeah, I get it.
I'm making sure you get it.
But remember, I didn't want jealousy before
Yes.
because I thought it was like not a modern thing. But then, bagay pala siya sa house.
So, depende sa design. May mga houses that it fits into perfectly, but meron ding hindi. But in this case, sobrang happy kami na ginawa naming jealousy because it is easier to open and it lets more air inside. So, maraming ding nagtatanong, kagaya ni Architect Lian, kung paano natin nililinis. Merong aparatos dyan na ginagamit namin. Ang tawag dyan ay hagdanan.
Later's idea is actually really cool. He put the pool right in the middle of our house,
Nice.
so that even if we're not using it,
that's
we're still
nice.
technically using it for aesthetic purposes.
When you're trying to put a pool in the middle of the house, make sure to check the layout over and over again. Kasi nung nangyari dito, nag-layout yung contractor namin and yung pool supplier namin, nag-layout din sila ng sarili nilang pool. So hindi sila nag-coordinate. Yung initial pool namin ay nasa loob ng bahay. So we had to revise that. Buti na lang na nakita ko before there was any mahal na changes na mangyayari or kailangang mangyari. Pro tip. Kasi hindi kasi sanay, I feel, hindi sanay ang mga pool supplier na ganito kalapit sa bahay yung mga pools. Sanay sila na nasa gitna ng garden. So when it came to this one, parang kailangan talaga ng coordination between the general contractor and the pool supplier.
No, it
serene,
does. It
yeah.
does. It helps the vibe of the entire house.
Especially when you see when it's like windy outside and you see ripples on the
Yeah.
pool and the light reflects towards the house.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Okay, so ang tawag dun sa reflections ng pool dun sa ceiling, ang tawag dun is caustic reflections.
Okay, so there are a lot of engineers that message me through DM sa mga Instagram. Sorry, hindi ko nare-replyan kayo lahat. So maraming mga engineers na parang they feel insecure kasi mga architects use these types of terms. So guys, huwag kayong ma-intimidate, magtanong, or just use normal language. Of course, Sir Lian is better at this because ito talaga yung linya nila. They are the architects. So for us mga engineers, iba din yung mga language natin, yung mga stress, mga moment, yung mga tension. But sa kanila, ito yung language nila. But don't be shy to ask. Better to ask and be ignorant once than not to ask and be ignorant forever. Yun talaga. Construction is always a learning process. Ang dami-daming mga bagong lumalabas na mga materials, mga types of construction, etc., etc. So, it is an ongoing process talaga. Okay, rant over.
One of my favorite parts of the house, the kitchen. I'm always here. I always spend time here. Why are you smirking?
My wife wanted me to sit down para ka-level lang.
Yeah, because he's so freaking tall. I don't understand. It's so hard. Okay, you should always sit in this chair so we're the same
Okay,
height.
first and foremost, tall people, bakit? I don't understand. Why do you do this to short people? But
Love, why do we do this to short people daw?
Oh, good. Buligid na.
ako nag-i-English, nahawa na ako kay Ma'am Chris. And second, kung titignan natin sa likod nila Ma'am Chris and Sir Slater, makita natin na parang merong sombrero ng Smurf dun sa tuktok ng kanilang cupboards. So ang tawag dito ay signal booster.
Ito talaga si Architect Lian. Lahat ng mga nasa corners yung nakikita eh. Medyo madumi pa siya. Hanggang ngayon madumi pa siya pero gagawa natin ng paraan yan. Gawa tayo ng video on how to hide these wires.
Ang purpose ng signal booster is para i-boost yung signal ng mga cell site. And I'm not a signal expert pero feeling ko dahil all glass yung bahay nila and then marami silang pure cement na walls and also meron pang pool dun sa harap ng bahay nila. Baka medyo compromised na yung network signal nila dito sa kitchen. That's why nilagyan nila ng signal booster.
Yung reason kung bakit may signal booster kami ay nasa boondocks po kami nakatira. So, that is why walang signal. So mga friends o mga suppliers na tumatawag sa amin paminsan, ng mga katrabaho namin, WhatsApp na lang or Viber.
Oh my gosh, this is my famous sink.
Famous?
And I would say famous because I actually have friends who text me, can I come over to the Skypod because I want to use your sink? I'm not kidding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, pause muna natin dito. Okay, so no wonder na merong mga friends na gustong gamitin tong sink na to kasi pati ako na hindi nila friend, gusto kong makigamit ng sink na yan. Di ko alam kung anong gagawin ko sa sink. So, ang sink is merong tatlong klase ng pagkakamount. So, itong sink nila, ang tawag dito is undermount. So, halimbawa, titignan natin yung section ng kanilang sink or yung side view. So, ito yung kitchen countertop. Tapos, ito yung lababo nila. Nasa ilalim siya ng kitchen countertop. Kaya undermount ang tawag. Tapos meron naman yung kabaliktaran na undermount which is yung overmount. So ito yung kitchen counter nila. So ang overmount is yung lobby ng sink. Nasa tuktok siya ng kitchen countertop. So mas malinis tignan ng undermount kaysa sa overmount. Kasi usually sa overmount kailangan nyo palagyan ng sealant dito sa dulo para hindi tumagas yung tubig papasok dun sa cabinetry nyo. And then meron naman yung tinatawag nating flash mount.
Where's my whiteboard? Can I ask for scratch paper? No! We're gonna use that! Scratch paper please and...
Pwede gamay?
Dako lang with kuhaan ka ng pentel pen.
Slater.
Thank you. So guys, may upgrade na po tayo from scratch paper to notebook. Fun fact! Fun fact na naman. Fun fact, hindi fa-fact. Kitchen sink namin is actually designed to be over-mount or top-mounted kagaya ng sinabi ni Sir Lian. Pero ang problem with that is ayoko talaga, kagaya ng drawing niya, na pag over-mount kasi yung sink or ganyan. So yung sink nandito. Sorry, hindi ako kasing galing niya mag-drawing. Ang problem kasi, that's why pinilit kong i-undermount kahit it was designed to be top-mounted. Kasi dito nilalagay ng sealant kagaya ng sinabi ni Architect Lian. So ito yung problem na pag naglilinis kayo or pag paminsan hindi maganda yung pag-sealant and stuff, unti-unting pumapasok yung tubig dito. Or pag hindi masyadong magaling ang paglinis, unti-unti itong nagsistain dito sa corners. So that is why pinilit ko i-undermount. So, ang ginawa namin dyan is, we made sure na kung ito yung counter, ito namin nilagay yung sink. And we made sure to put sealant pa. Kasi dito yung magiging problema after a while with most of the sinks. Kasi pumapasok yung tubig ulit. So, kadalasan ng mga problems na long-term problems ng bahay always involve water. Whether it's leaking, whether it's rotting, whether it's mold, 90% is always a water problem. Second, dami, ang haba na ng video na to. That is why ayaw din namin ng, kung ito yung counter, yung mga lababo na nakapatong na ganyan, na design. Sorry, pero pet peeve ko talaga to. Ayaw ko talaga to kasi ang hirap nilinisin dito. And dito nagsistay yung tubig.
Welcome to Slater's Man Cave. Take it away, my love.
It's not actually my man cave. We designed it to be a multi.
Ito yung panahon na nag-workout pa ako guys, so mas payat na ako ngayon. At ang reason ko, and I blame this on Scotty. Sorry, Scotty.
Their concept is, so if they're the architects and it's a glass house, they wanted to be the ones to design the interiors because it has to match.
Right.
So kudos kay Sir Slater and Ma'am Chris for getting an architect. Dahil usually mayroong misconception yung mga tao na pag engineer and architect usually parang magkaaway sila. Pero in reality, friends ang architect and engineer at nagtutulungan dapat palagi yan. So since engineer si Sir Slater at ako ay isang architect, matik na friends na kami. Kapal tamok.
Friends talaga tayo, architect. Hanapan natin ang paraan again so that we can work together. Ito talaga ay isa sa mga reasons why you should hire an architect. Kasi specialty talaga nila. And everything starts with the architect. Everything starts with the plan. Kahit gaano pa kagaling ang engineer, pero mali-mali yung drawing or pangit yung drawing, pangit pa rin ang kalabasan, di ba? And sa mga people that have been messaging us that we use architects to design our house, hindi po totoo yan. Architect sila pero may interior design, licensed interior designer po sila sa team nila.
Okay. Joke lang yung Sir Slater, hindi talaga tayo pwede maging friends kasi may emphasize yung height deficiency ko.
Okay lang, architect, pag magkikita tayo in person, ang tawag ko sa'yo, Tol. Diba? Hi, Tol.
There's also a saving tip for you guys. If you are using like whole slabs of quartz, then you can use spare for other places in your house. Like we use the spare for our sink. And that saves us a lot of money.
Oh.
Okay. Pause muna natin dyan. So basically, ang quartz, isa siyang synthetic na stone that is made to look like granite or marble. May nag-comment dun sa isang video ko na mali daw pagkasabi ko ng granite. Tapos yung marble, ni-research ko na para hindi nyo na-commentin. Marble. My bowl. Anyway, as I was saying, ang quartz is isa siyang engineered stone or synthetic na stone. So gawa siya sa quartz powder, tas hinaluan ng resin, tas nilagyan lang ng design.
Yes, so ang dami nagtatanong sa amin kung bakit we chose quartz versus granite or versus marble. It's because ang quartz ang pinakamatibay and we use our kitchen a lot. So we'll make a new video about it sooner or later. Pero ang daming nagtatanong. So I'll just as a fun fact, pinakamatibay quartz, second is granite, lastly is marble. Marble.
Solar lights. Fairly cheap, like $20 siguro. But it's very cost efficient.
Okay, pause muna natin dito. Sorry to interrupt your solar light speech, Sir Slater, pero napansin ko lang yung ginamit nilang fence, very eye-catching. So correct me if I'm wrong, Sir Slater, but I think yung metal na ginamit nila para sa fence na ito is corten steel or most commonly known as weathering steel. So ang pangalan ng corten steel is nanggaling sa kanyang properties, which is corrosion resistant siya, so corrosion, core, and then above average ang kanyang tensile strength, so 10. So corrosion, tensile, corten steel. Also tulad ng nabanggit ko kanina, ang common name for corten steel is weathering steel dahil usually hindi na siya pinipinturahan tapos iniiwan siya sa labas para ma-expose sa weather at medyo mga lawang siya na medyo orangish brown. So, ang medyo social na pagkakatawag doon sa kalawang na yun is patina. So, patina yung tawag ng mga tao doon, pero in reality, kalawang lang talaga yung orangish brown na yun. Pero doon dumadating yung kagandahan ng corten steel. So, kahit mukha siyang kalawang sa labas, hindi siya magko-corrode all the way through and hindi tatagos yung kalawang sa loob kasi corrosion resistant nga yung steel na yun. Yun ang kagandahan ng corten steel.
When it comes to corten steel, yung unang design ng fence namin is actually solid concrete. Yung typical lang na fence, tapos may mga design lang. Pero parang nasasayangan ako kasi glass house, tapos hindi see-through yung pakita ko sa inyo mamaya. So ang ginawa namin is we bought sheets of corten steel and we were able to find it in Manila, mga suppliers, but it was expensive. It was about 4 times siguro the price of an ordinary steel. Pero sheets siya, malalaking sheets. So ang ginawa ko, pinadala ko sa factory namin at pinabending ko to be shaped as letter C. So ganyan siya. So papakita ko sa inyo. If you notice, mas nagbibigay siya ng character instead of a solid wall. May solid wall na kasi kami, so if pag dinagdagan pa, medyo weird na siya, di ba? Weathering steel is the proper term, by the way. Corten steel is a brand of weathering steel. The good thing about corten steel is that you don't have to worry about the rust. The rust is yung protective layer niya. So, it rusting is actually it protecting itself. Max.
Wow.
Parang heartbreak lang yan. Parang sinishield mo yung heart. Ganyan ba? Guys, kung nakita niyo sa video, medyo black pa yung steel na nandun. Because that was 1 year ago. This is starting to rust already. It actually started with an orange rust. Ngayon, brownish rust na siya. So it changes over time as it rusts. So ang ganda din ng medyo nag-change yung look ng bahay pa konti with this effect. And this is what I said that I wanted space na makikita pa rin through the house so that hindi masyadong kulog yung house, especially because it's a glass house. Ito yung C na sinabi ko. So we alternated the C just to give it like a depth. Hindi siya parang straight na wall, parang may ganyan siya, staggered effect. So yun yung sobrang tagal namin pinag-isipan. We weren't really sure if we could find corten steel, but we were happy with yung final product. We were happy with it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Channels like Architect Austria, I feel, is educating the people more when it comes to building and construction. Yung mission talaga for this channel is to make engineering and construction more approachable, especially to just ordinary day-to-day people. Anyway, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and all that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!